Analysis on the legal challenges President Trump could be facing as attorney Robert McWhirter. Good morning. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
My pleasure.
Can you talk about the circumstances that actually allow the president to invoke this Alien Enemies Act? A lot of people had not really heard about this because it's only been invoked 3 times.
Well, the circumstances, you need to be in a war. The statute was actually passed during the Adams administration in 1789, during what was called the Quasi-War with France. And it was used only against the Jeffersonian Democrat Republicans. The statute was immediately ignored by Thomas Jefferson, and it was a big reason why Adams lost the next election to Thomas Jefferson. The statute has widely been considered to be a very poor example of what America is really about. And that example, when it was used in World War II, it was used as a justification for interning Japanese Americans, which is just simply a disgrace in American legal history that it was ever used like that. So the statute is really problematic. And the fact is, we are not in a war. There is a categorical difference between wanting to round up people who are members of gangs, who can be deported already legally for other reasons, and trying to use a statute that's over 200 years old and discredit it.
So if we aren't in a war with any other nations, can this law still apply legally?
No, it's a bad statute in the first place, but even under the statute's own terms, it does not apply. At the start of the hour, I think you mentioned that these are gang members. Well, they're alleged gang members. I have no doubt that there are many gang members among this group, and they should be deported on the basis of regular immigration law after due process. But how many other young men and women are being rounded up who are not gang members and just happen to be there with no due process? That's why we have procedures in America, and this statute is just simply anathema to what American values are.
Well, you spoke a little bit about this, but I want to dive in a little bit further as to why the president would invoke this law rather than turning to the laws typically used for immigration enforcement. Why do you think this is happening?
Because I think he wants to make a big splash, and he wants to continue to make this absurd argument that we are, quote, being invaded. There's a categorical difference between people coming to this country, members of gangs or not, or joining gangs, and what the Japanese did at Pearl Harbor, which was an actual invasion, or what the British did to us in the War of 1812, or when any war is actually declared by Congress. Those are categorically different than what is going on here. So it's just, I think, trying to make a big splash and not follow due process. I also think that they're grasping at straws here. This administration has proven itself to be incompetent at actually enforcing immigration law. If you look at the numbers from Biden-Obama eras, they were much better at actually deporting people than the Trump administration, the first Trump term, and certainly at the start of this term.
So, Robert, would an immigrant have any way to challenge their detention or deportation under that law?
No, the only chance they have is to go for a petition of writ of habeas corpus, which the judge heard and therefore ordered the stop of this so people could get normal process. And what it appears to be, despite what the Trump administration is saying, they appear to be defying that order. The president of El Salvador, who are taking some of these folks, said, oops, he made a mistake, and this is being passed around by the Trump communications people. They're proud of their little look of defiance. And so really, that's all that can be done at this point.
Well, it's controversial. It's something we'll be talking about, I'm sure, going forward. So thank you so much for being with us this morning.
My great pleasure.